So this, some of you may have seen this as well. It's something that the United for a Fair Economy uses. I'd like to get 10 chairs up here and 10 people to sit in the chairs so we can step kind of back from our personal experience a little bit and look at the larger economic system. So let's turn these chairs around and make a line, and we'll need about 4 more. And I need 10 volunteers to sit in the 10 chairs so we can take a look at things. So I'm going to ask each of the chair, I'm going to say that each of the chairs represents 10% of the wealth of the United States. And each of you is going to represent 10% of the population of the United States. Okay? So everybody has a chair. How do you feel about having a chair? Comfortable? Okay. This kind of a nice way to arrange things, given that it's a long session. You got to have a chair. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Good. Well, I mean, probably for most of us in the world that we would like to see, there would be some kind of distribution like this, right, where everybody had a chair to meet their needs. But of course, it isn't like that in the United States. So, in fact, about 30 years ago, 10% of the population controlled about 50% of the financial wealth of the country. So I'll let you represent that 10%. Lucky you. And I'm afraid that you all are sitting in his chair, so you need to move down there because those are his.
Once we give him up.
Right. So, yeah, but make yourself comfortable. Maybe you want a chair for your foot. Or this.
Oh, this one too?
This one too. Okay, how are you doing?
Oh, great. Never been better.
Okay, feeling pretty comfortable. Okay, how are you all down here? You're all right? Okay. How about you all?
Not too good.
It's going to get tiring, isn't it? So there's about 30 years ago, right? You know, in the mid-70s, before Ronald Reagan came into office in 1980, this is about what it looked like. Since then, though, things have deteriorated or not, depending on who you ask, if we ask him. But 10% of the population now controls 70% of the wealth of the country. So I'm afraid these 2 chairs are his. So,
Oh, jeez.
just in case you didn't have enough, I'm sorry for this one as well. Now, but the next 10% of the population controls another 20% of the chairs. So you're going to get these 2 chairs. Sweet. And you all have to.
Well, that would be me.
That would be you.
That would be me.
So yeah, come on down here so that you're separate from them. You might want to stretch out a little bit for now. How are you doing now?
Oh, just fine. It's too close now.
And how are you doing?
Fine.
Fine? Comfortable now? Okay. How about you all?
Their position is looking a little too sweet.
What are the real-world implications of this distribution of wealth? How does this look in the community here, having this concentration of wealth and this much inequality? What does it look like in this community?
Eventual conflict.
Eventual conflict. But what does it look like today?
There's a lot more in the middle.
What?
I think there's a lot more in the middle.
In this particular community.
In this community?
Yeah, it's not quite so.
I don't know the details, but I suspect it's much more like this than you experience. Are you going to build a little wall there?
It's
Okay.
dangerous having all that.
Okay. So what does this look like in the neighborhoods around here?
Well, I was talking to him yesterday, and he said that if these people weren't so lazy and shiftless, they could have chairs too.
So it looks like lame people who don't have as much.
Looks like the amount of space people have. Physical space.
Physical space, right? And some people have no physical space. So part of it looks like homelessness, doesn't it? What else? How else does it look?
Well, a little more prison population.
Yeah, we've got to lock some of them up to keep them.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. You've got to pay somebody to guard this gate you've got here.
With his wall, like, I don't even dare go talk to him, so I'm actually looking at Sandy to say,
Right.
hey, I want to share.
Right,
So we end
okay.
up.
Right, so your attention gets to be on her. And in fact, part of your job, being in the middle here, is to take this chair and to decide who among them is going to get this chair. Oh, great. So, and you have to convince her that you're the one, because you have a family, right? So how do you convince her that you're the one that needs this chair? So how would you make that decision?
I don't know. I don't know. That's,
Right.
that in
But
and
you're
of
getting-
itself is
you're
hard
getting
to.
paid to do this. You got this chair so that you could.
I'm worthy. I work really hard, and I'm a good person, unlike some other people here.
We've worked as a team together before, Sandy. Don't forget our roots.
See, you're having a chair is contingent on your doing your job, which means distributing pieces of this chair to them.
Tell you what, because of your guilt, I'm going to donate.
Wait a second. We'll come to that in just a minute. That's a really good thought.
He knows how this works.
Okay. Yeah, something you gonna say?
Nothing. No, do I have to choose someone?
No, not really. But you all have to figure out what to do with this chair, right? Now, there's no reason that she should have it, right? You've got families to feed. You know, share it in needs.
Yeah.
So how are you going to figure out what getting a piece of this for your family? So one of the things that affirmative action is, I think affirmative action is really important and a very important program and good, but one of the things it does is it keeps all of your attention on this chair. A limited educational opportunity or a job opportunity, it doesn't keep your attention on the 7 chairs over there. It's not about redistributing the wealth, it's about competing over. So it's a great tool for him and the ruling class because it keeps your attention right on this chair. Or if on the chair that she has here, the human services that she has available to help you out. So that's where the attention gets focused, not on the whole system. Now, your impulse was great. You're feeling guilty, and in fact, you made your money in kind of ways that you're not so sure about. So you want to set up a foundation. You want to give one of these shares. What's your name?
Mr. Big Bucks.
David. Okay, the David Foundation has been set up, and it's a nonprofit foundation. It funds programs like yours to help people like you. So that means that David now gets known in the community for being a generous soul. And the reputation he used to have for running the factory here, or closing the factory down and moving the jobs overseas, now becomes the reputation about supporting the domestic violence shelter and the local schools and everything else. So the question arises, how did he accumulate all these chairs? What are the process through which the ruling class accumulates these chairs?
He was born into inheritance.
Inheritance. Okay, so we know that two-thirds of the people in this part of the population just inherited it. But how did their fathers, their foreparents, how did they accumulate it? What are the economic processes by which these chairs are accumulated?
Behind every great fortune, there's a great crime.
And what are some of the, in U.S. history, what are some of those crimes? Slavery, stealing the land.
Smart business practice.
Federal Reserve Bank.
The Federal Reserve Bank, the economic system.
Yes.
What are some other historical processes, crimes we might call them, in which the money is accumulated?
Environmental exploitation.
What? Environmental exploitation, right. So it takes systems in place to be able to accumulate this money. And those systems involve the exploitation of either the land or the people. There's only 2 ways to accumulate great wealth. The land, of course, the chairs sit on Native American land, so that's the original land exploitation. And then there's mining and forestry and agribusiness and all kinds of other things. And then there's the exploitation of people. And the exploitation of people has several different rungs to it. The bottom level is the unpaid work of women in the home. childcare, housework, cooking, things like that. The next level is the very low-paid work, mostly by people of color in the fields and factories and sweatshops. And then there's higher levels of unionized work and professionalized work. But the whole system is set up to exploit everybody's labor and produce wealth over here.